call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts obsession, I will not stop, no I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex, haters love to hate but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
I don't know how to stop, I just go till I drop. Whether it's working or shots, give it all that I got. You can watch me work in my element. Anyone in the way is irrelevant. You wanna cross me, cool, not intelligent. Cause I don't forget shit like an elephant. Go ahead and tempt me, put it on the line and you'll come up empty. If I got time, I'm deadly. Never caught off guard, no, I'm always ready. I got a hand real steady. Look me in the eye and you'll see no hezzy. About to get real messy. I'll put you in a grave 6 feet like Kenny.
You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god.
What's good? It's your boy Reckless Raidenero, and we're back at it again for another episode of Future Financial Strategies. This is going to be the first episode in 2024. We're also going to be opening up with the first episode later on this evening of Guns and Butter of 2024. Now, as you all know, I'm not a new year, new me person. Stated this in the last episode of 2023. We are cool, calm, collected, and tactical. So we make goals and we execute against those goals. But one of the things that I am terrible at, that I do want to take you guys through, especially when we have people talking about the opportunities, lack thereof. You know, I listen to Bernard Riley. I do tap in on Bernard's stuff every once in a while. And he had JT, Pocket Watching with JT on there. Really interesting show. And of course, there's always the conversation because, like, JT, obviously, he busts out all the scammers. I find it pretty interesting. I'm not worried about catching his pair view. I don't have shit to sell over here. I'm documenting as we are making our moves and, making as many people aware of the opportunity and the wealth transfer that's actually happening as possible. We go over news topics. We go over the moves that I'm making, the strategies that I'm using to build my wealth. I'm not wealthy. I'm not rich. I don't pretend to be wealthy or pretend to be rich. You guys will always see me in this corner. If you see me on a panel, it's in this corner. Hopefully one of the goals for the next property, like I said, full transparency, we're on our journey. We're working towards the second property. I'm getting my second property. Not super wealthy. I'm part owner of a business. And I have been in the cryptocurrency space for 10 years, and I've touched on pretty much every facet of the space. All of them, because I've been here so long. I've been regularly vlogging this for probably a little over a year. I waited 9 years before I opened my mouth. I know that there's because JT likes to, as with all of the personal finance guys, they like to tout credentials. And I'm like, credentials don't really matter in the face of math, in my opinion. Granted, you don't want to take financial advice from somebody who's not vetted, but also the traditional finance has to defend itself because there's no need for those people if you could just buy Bitcoin, which, technically speaking, is an actual option, and mathematically it's the best option because the past decade since Bitcoin's existence, which is over a decade. But the past decade that I've been involved, no, there's not been a better performing asset, period. You've been better off buying Bitcoin than a house. These are just facts. It's just math. When you're doing finance, it's just math. Should you buy a house or rent? It's just math. If it's your primary house and you're the only person living in it and you're paying that note, then it's just a matter of, can you get the note for less than renting? But a lot of people in these spaces, again, go with half truths. So the half truth there is, that's the end of the story. Now, the reality of the situation is, actually, while you are on the hook for maintenance and all of those things that can be covered with a home warranty for all the expensive stuff, fun fact, if you just get a good home warranty, all the stuff that they tell you is just going to be terrible is covered in the home warranty if you get a good one. It's like $500, $600 a year. The hole in the roof, they'll fix it. $75. Water heater blows, they'll fix it. $75. And I only know because water heaters are expensive because I bought one. I bought a water heater when I bought this place, my first property. One of the things that was wrong with it was the water heater had to be replaced. Luckily, I negotiated that out of the price of the home, got a really good deal on it, bought the water heater, but it's $5,000, super expensive. Also, would have been covered under the home warranty would I have had it. Furnace, home warranty. Air conditioner, home warranty. Home warranty covers a lot of stuff. It's one of the things they don't tell you. The other thing that they don't tell you is, as soon as I bought this place, the transition and the bundling of my home and auto insurance dropped my personal expenses $350. So while the mortgage note was $50 more, the collective savings was $350. These are the things that they don't tell you. So, like, there's actually more in-depth math on the surface level of, is this mortgage more expensive than renting? Because I would dare say, depending on how close you are, I would much rather be in a mortgage than renting. And the reason being is because, at least in the city that I live in, I know people personally who had to move 3 times over the course of the pandemic because their buildings got bought out and the rent went up $300, and they were already, most of you are already hand to mouth. Over the past 5 years, my mortgage note has fluctuated 100, I think it may be over 5 years, $150, and that's because of taxes, because taxes are changing. Also $40 because Biden made it so that everybody who's financially responsible and has good credit gets to foot the bill for people who are not financially responsible so that they can get a mortgage and then fumble the bag and then lose their property. But I digress. It's still better than having to move 3 times over the course of 5 years because your apartment keeps getting bought out and they raise the rent $300. That's one of the things that they're not telling you about renting. So while you might save money in the short term, these people are peddling short-term solutions. And honestly, you can find the people that are just straight up trying to scam by tapping in with JT over at Pocket Watch It with JT. It's actually a pretty entertaining show. I'm really kind of don't mess with stuff that's negative. In the sense of like watching it all the time. Like, I don't need to know who's scamming. Like, I kind of stay in my lane. I have my plan. I can listen to anybody and get the grains that are functional for me, because I'll go back and check the math. Like, it's really hard to lie to me in regards to money, because I'm going to pull out my calculator. I'll get my phone out and I'll go, no, you're lying. Like, that math doesn't check out. Like, it doesn't check out. And if it doesn't check out, we just don't do it. It's actually pretty simple. And I know that's why my channel's small, because I don't exacerbate things and I'm not selling you guys anything. But that's kind of what it is. But what we're doing is, I'm going to do this episode. We're going to do a complete breakdown, because we did the end of month. So obviously we're tracking our net worth every month. We're running the numbers. We're looking at how much we got into savings. Gosh, Gosh, I gotta stop saying that's my goal, one of my goals for the year. I'm already failing at it terribly. But we're looking at how much we got into savings. We're going to look at the DeFi income, because, well, the income in general, because that is up because of the plays that we're making in crypto. Obviously, for a bull run, the future financial strategies obviously is going to be pivoting over to a lot more crypto talk, because there's literally nothing. And I still need to get a hold. Somebody needs to get me in touch with Wall Street Trapper, because I want that bet. I want to bet him 1 Ethereum, because I know he has some, and I want one of them. I just want to take it from him, because he is diametrically wrong. Bitcoin, I will bet anyone 1 Ethereum the Bitcoin hits 100,000 this year. 2024, for the end of the year, will be at 100,000. I will take that bet, Wall Street Trapper. I want one of your Ethereum. You can send it to me. I want it. Lock me in. We can go right now. We are sitting at 45K, which we're going to, let me go ahead and pull it up, because we got to celebrate. Boom. Bitcoin broke 45K today. And I know Wall Street Trapper is aware of the halving. I don't think he actually understands it, because he straight up said back in 2023, towards the end of the year, it was one of the end of the year episodes, because I do tap in with him on Tuesdays. And normally I don't get to watch it on Tuesdays, because I'm normally on a panel on Tuesdays. But when I do get the rewatch, and I'll normally do that on Wednesdays. So I am tapped in regularly. I normally drop some comments, kind of be on his neck whenever he brings up crypto, because he's always wrong. Not supposed to say but I want in on that bet. I know I'm a small channel, but I will take your Ethereum, Trapper. I want one. I will go 1 for 1. I got plenty also. So I can afford that. It's a bet that I can afford. And I just would prefer you just give me one of your Ethereum, because since you don't understand it, I think you should part with one and give it to me after you lose the bet, because you are wrong. It's going to be 100,000 before the end of the year. I say that with conviction. I honestly would dare say that if we were only at 100,000 by the end of the year, that'd be kind of weird to me, because that's shooting low. But we broke $45,000. Crypto Bro is going to be winning for the next 16 to 24 months. I'm excited about it. We're doing some good stuff pre-halving. Excited about that. But one of the things that I do appreciate Pocket watching with JT for is he is a skeptic. The one issue that I have, and it's with his whole profession, because it's going to sound terrible, and JT's going to probably be like, this was some terrible advice. But once we go over the math, and I mean, we can go over the math for like the last 2 years, but I mean, I could go back. Hold on. Let me actually check and see how far back I can go, because I've been tracking my personal finances for a long time, because I had a financial advisor and a financial planner. And I generally, if I'm utilizing something, I can go back to 2021 when I actually started rolling this, what I'm doing now, out, and I might, hold on. Do I have Drive open up over here? No, hold on. Let me see. Do I have any over here? I have a savings tracker from 2016. What's that look like? That could be interesting. Oh, Lord. This is hilarious. Okay. So this is funny. So in 2016, back when I was getting my finances together, this is a good one. January of 2016, the amount of money that I saved for that month was hold on, this is going to be adorable. $35. I saved $35 in January of 2016. This is crazy. And so like that's when I started tracking my savings. I didn't have this full spreadsheet put together yet. Like I was just tracking to make sure I was saving some money. And when people are like, "Oh, well, like how much were you investing in crypto? And how much did you invest?" Literally the month of January in 2016. And this was when I was actively trying to get in with my money. Now, granted, I started mining in 2013, and I think we ran that through. It might have been up into 2016, and I'd started doing exactly what I was doing here, but I was tracking it. Whatever was left from the check. Like I was managing a lot of debt. I was in terrible debt during this time period. Probably to the tune of like $40,000. The people that Pocket Watching with JT was like, "You need my services," and you know, we had a dude that I was working with that was telling me to save my money, and very similar to the anecdotal "this works for everybody" boomer logic that those people give as an anecdote. And it's almost like the same thing where people are like, "Oh, well, this is the workout routine that works for everyone," or, "Oh, this is the diet." It's just a generalized prescription, and it does work for most people. But then there's math. So while I was saving, because like I was just managing the debt in 2016, like these numbers are super small. For the entire year, I saved $1,265. Like that's how little I had left over from the check, which actually goes counter to the people who are like, "Oh, I don't have enough to start saving. I don't have enough to start investing." There's never a point. Like if you can't manage nothing, you ain't going to be able to manage something. Like it doesn't come overnight. And Pocket Watching with JT also states that all the time. Like this isn't an overnight endeavor, but the best time to start is now. Granted, me personally, because I'd been in crypto for 3 years, I knew how the bull cycles worked. At this point, I'd actually, in 2016, I had actually lost, well, so 2013 was a bull run. Yeah, this was me in the process of getting ready to lose. This was my first big loss in crypto. Actually, all my big losses from an investment standpoint have been in crypto. But this was the prequel. The prequel, folks. And this is why I say you gotta earn your stripes. Me personally, I don't like listening to people who haven't lost money telling me about how to invest in anything. I'm like, do you lose? Because if all you've done is win, you would be the guru, oracle, best investor on the planet. Warren Buffett had some duds, specifically Berkshire Hathaway, the company that he bought. The only thing he got out of that was the name. That was a dud. The man didn't win at everything that he went at. He had plenty of duds on the way. He caught some L's. I don't trust nobody who ain't caught an L. I digress. Anyways, now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, this was the year before I lost $20,000 on paper. It's my first big L because I wasn't invested in Bitcoin. Would have been better off just investing in Bitcoin. But I had my miner running, so like I had some Bitcoin tucked away that I couldn't get access to. Thank the Lord. And I was in the process of trying to get access to it. So this was actually right pre-bull run. So all this money was going into a coin that was not a long-term hold. It was my first time getting bamboozled, as JT likes to say, scammed, if you would. It was a project, a lot of hype went into it. Really, really good creator, done some really good stuff in the space, had a name for himself, pumped this project. They got a bunch of money and then didn't do anything. And then the project just like basically, it still exists, but it's worthless. And no one uses it. No one's going to use it. It's a pain to use. The tech was good at the time. It hasn't evolved. And now it's just not good. It's not as good as anything else, in my opinion. And there's no reason to go back. Like, not even for a moonshot to try to get my money back. But the plus side was I did end the year in profit. I just didn't profit as much as I potentially could have had I not been clouded with belief and faith. versus math and logic. And also, the other thing that I didn't do, which I recommend in every space that you enter into, is cover your bases. Like if there's foundational assets of the space for the cryptocurrency space, specifically it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, you could probably tack, for me, my three are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink. You could also add to that XRP. XRP's been through the paces. It's survived a bunch of court cases. They're probably not going anywhere. They have a niche. They're bringing TradFi into the Web3, or not the Web3, the blockchain space. They're aiming to replace Swift, which is archaic and does need to be replaced. They've earned their stripes. I could see people who want to hold that. I personally do not hold it. Well, actually, I do. I have a small amount of XRP, but I won't be adding to it, and I'll probably just be indefinitely holding it until it gets tasty enough for me to want to sell it off. And that's because I am not an advocate of using centralized exchanges. And since I've gotten to a position to where all I have to do is have CashApp to get Bitcoin in the market, and if I need to sell ever, I can use CashApp to get Bitcoin out of the market. I'm not using any centralized exchanges, which means that anything that I cannot get to via bridges or some sort of interconnect without using a Coinbase, I'm full DeFi. That's where I've been for a very long time, and I finally figured out how to just go full DeFi. I'm never going back. So I skip all the opportunities that aren't accessible. And that's just a decision that I've made. I don't like centralized entities. I don't like the establishment, that traditional finance establishment that pocket watching with JT represents, to be honest. Like, I don't like middlemen. I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do with my money. I don't like the assumption that I'm too stupid to know how to invest, but I can go get a college loan, which no financial planner is going to ever tell you to not go to college. They're advocates for college so that you can go get a basket weaving degree and have $80 million in debt and then complain and have Biden have to bail you out. They advocate for that system because they're a part of it. They'll let you gamble. You can go gamble. You can go gamble your entire house away. But there's investments apparently that you need to have an arbiter because you're too dumb to know what to do with your money. They'll let you get upside down in the house. Y'all are out here driving around with $1,200 car loans right now. They'll let you do that. But when it comes to investing, there's a cloak and a veil, and you need JT to be in between you and that, because you're just too stupid to make money on your own. You need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to tell you what you're allowed to invest in. That's actually the most annoying part of it. And honestly, the benefit that I would say if you have a good wealth manager, advisor, what have you, with their piece of paper and their degree, is they can get you access to that pre you becoming an accredited investor. They can give you that. They can give you that access. They can middleman you through there. Outside of that, like, unless you need estate planning or something specific, which you can go find those specific things. Like, once I got into the cryptocurrency space and I got into Bitcoin, I understood how it worked. And I bumped my head. I lost $20,000 and didn't leave the market on something that was blatantly, like, it was very easy to take the victim position on that and be like, these people led me to believe this. I need the SEC to come in here and fix this for me. Why didn't the government protect me from losing my money? But I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't cry. I took my L. That was my money, my decisions. I mean, granted, also, you could look at it from this perspective. It wasn't a lot of my money. And I'll repeat, I did walk away and profit on it. Like, I walked away with a little bit extra, but it still hurts to see them numbers crash like that. Like, it hurts to be in something that's not coming back and then to lose. But that was my decision. It was my play. I pieced that deal together. I got involved in the investment. I went through the hoops and hurdles to do what I needed to do to get it. So it's my loss. but I get to choose. I don't need JT to tell me that I'm too stupid to invest, because like now that I've been doing this for a decade, I understand with him, with his piece of paper, he knows the traditional finance space. I'll give him that. I don't really pay attention to my portfolio in the traditional finance space. I put it into dividend stocks or dividend plays, and I'm stacking it that way. I'm really paying no attention to it until we hit $100 a month in dividends rolling in, because then it's something for me to play with. Because crypto moves a lot faster, it's a lot more attentive space, and I got ADD. But like, having his degree doesn't make him a better investor. It doesn't, and I'll tell you why it doesn't. Because no one would do his job, even if you have a business. If you were that good at investing, it's one of JT's lines. Then why aren't you just doing that? You wouldn't advise someone else because you'd be too busy just doing that. I mean, like, most of the time, if you see me on a panel, I've actually only had two people, or I've had two conversations. I had one offline with Hink, and then the show that I did with Hink where somebody asked me to talk about Bitcoin. And I know about Bitcoin. The rest of the time, every other panel you see me on, A, I'm asked to be there. B, they want to talk about relationship stuff. I'm fine with it. Like, I rock with it, you know. Like, I probably also talk about fitness. I'm in really good shape. Like, I talk about that too, like, because I know about it. Like, I talk about crypto. I can talk about financial strategy because I am on that journey, and I've made some really good results in the crypto space. I've also had some L's, and like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's for everyone. You have to have a certain mentality. It is definitely a very much risk on asset. It's very volatile, but for people to talk about the crypto space, and like JT gave his spiel, which was the reason I fired my advisor, because I was like, I don't need you anymore. Like, you can't help me then. Like, if we're going out into uncharted territory and I'm all in on this because I don't want to deal with you, or you're like, I'm a financial anarchist. I don't want to deal with anybody that says that they need to get in between me and this. And I'm beating your results year over year on the long term over a decade. I'm like, you couldn't have even made me this money, but you want to tell me what to do? That, like, I'm fine with that. The issue that I have, and it's what I said when Dave Ramsey had a video that he tweeted where he was telling somebody to sell off all their Bitcoin, and it's going to go to zero, and durka, and you need to do the slow boomer plan. I was like, this isn't going to age well, and it didn't. But what's worse is once the spot Bitcoin ETF that BlackRock, the 8 million pound American gorilla, ESG, all the kooky stuff that's going on, they're influencing that with their money that they applied for. BlackRock doesn't normally get told no when they apply for any ETFs. Their success rate is stupid high. They applied for it. Gary Gensler immediately started changing his tune. Once that gets approved, and now Bitcoin is okay, those same advisors, like Pocket Watching with JT, are going to be like, oh, this is what you need to do. BlackRock already released a report that said if you have a risk-on portfolio, period, meaning the risk portfolio, like you trying to get money, you trying to get to the bag, high risk, high reward, it should be 85% Bitcoin. That's what they said. That's not my opinion. That's them. That's the report that they released for their people. And my question to that is, this entire time that you've been talking bad about the space, pulling the one errant meme coin or whatever as your example of why it's dangerous. Oh, look at how much it dropped. Oh, Bitcoin's volatile. Over 10 years, and I've done the episodes, and like I said it on the post on Bernard's channel. I was like, I'd love to have this conversation with you, with any of you. because the math versus what you're saying is wrong. And I understand, because you're in a highly regulated field, you've got a license, you've got to protect your people, which is why I had to fire my advisor. Because them, and this goes back to the way that this is set up. Like, they also don't allow you to get involved in IPOs because, you could lose all your money, 100%. But opportunity cost. So for 10 years, y'all been telling people it's dangerous, don't do it, blah, but durka. And Bitcoin's been printing over 100% over the span of that time. Mathematically, that's the returns. Those are the returns. So once it's okay and you start putting it in people's portfolios, and this is the funny thing, JT, once y'all start putting it in people's portfolios and they do get whatever regulatory clarity that America hasn't been able to give. And I'll tell you one more thing for those who are thinking that the system is working here. The only other places that don't have regulatory clarity or are just now getting it are Nigeria, corrupt government where the citizens don't use their currency, China, communists, and India, which has a caste system. So they don't want poor people moving up or having money because you're born a peasant. You're supposed to stay a peasant. You can't get any better. That's who America's in league with their lack of clarity for Bitcoin. Specifically. Not gonna say the whole space. Obviously, I do stuff. You can tap in over on Crypto Portfolio Updates. I'm in the space. I'm not gonna say that everything's great. The whole reason that we're able to make what we're making is because the market's inefficient. But what was the opportunity cost for the people who asked you previously? Previous to them saying it's okay, so now you can say it's okay. At what point was that okay? Because now, I've already changed my existence with the crypto space. We're on the next leg now. The first decade, we're partway through the second decade as far as financial trajectory goes. But 2013 to 2020, the first 7 years, that pocket of time literally changed my financial trajectory, changed the options that I had. It allowed me to leverage myself into a position of ownership in the company I was working for. And I didn't have the silver spoon, because I understand you were solidly middle. Actually, it sounded like, from what you said on Bernard, JT, you were upper middle class. Y'all was basically rich. Like you said, you was holding stacks. And that's dope. That is dope. I was not. The whole premise of the reason I'm the way that I am was because I missed a couple of meals. Not because we didn't have money for the food, but because my parents were both working at the time. And they forgot to just buy my TV dinner that I had to hook up, that I had to heat up myself because I was a latchkey kid and I was at home alone. And for reference, JT, we're basically the same age. You a hair older than me. Definitely an order of magnitude more educated. I'll give you that, because I don't have the fancy pieces of paper. What I do have is math and results. And fortunately, we live in a society in the first world country that we're privileged to be in, where a dummy like myself can succeed. We're not in India. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think about the opportunity cost. I think about me never being able to buy a house. I think about me being put in a situation where rent's going to indefinitely be going up, because another fun thing that I do is I'll tap into the resources that I need to get the information that I want. And like, you know, when BlackRock's buying up houses and everybody's like, oh, nobody's going to rent at these crazy prices, but they don't have to sell them for 20 years. They could just set the price and then wait for the market to get to that price. And then the market starts going to that price because the housing stock is low. Like I don't even see normal houses going up. I really don't. I haven't seen a new in my area personally. I don't know. Like the business that I'm in, I work in home automation. We only deal in $1 million and up houses. We have not been not busy. Except for like maybe I'd say there were like 3 weeks at the beginning of the pandemic when people didn't know if we were going to be allowed to work. But we were still working, but it was like touch and go. And like everybody thought we were getting shut down any day. We weren't busy during that time period. After we were okay to continue, after they decided that the rich people weren't stopping what they were doing, we haven't been not busy since. When they said that nobody's building houses, our builders are still building houses. They're still building these multi-million-dollar monstrosities. I'm still designing movie theaters to go in them. I'm still doing installs and system turn-ups. Never stopped. Y'all was sitting at home. You got stimmy time, learning how to not work. I never stopped working. Those houses never stop going up. They're still going up. But the thing is, the neighborhoods that we're getting around here now, those houses are like $400,000 and $500,000, and those are now the inexpensive houses. Like there's no starter homes. There's not starter home communities. You are starting at a decent house. Like you got to get a good house. Like you get a house. It's not a beginning house. It's like these are houses that previously were forever homes. That's your first house now, if you can afford it. And I think if we had to wait till now to buy, I can only imagine what they're paying rent at the building that we were previously living in before I bought this. And how much more rent, like if I would have had to move. Because I was in a good spot. Like we had a good deal. The opportunity cost is what I look at, and it's where my vitriol comes from, because the entire time that the banking establishment was telling us that this was for women of the night and people who engaged in illicit activities or bought horrible things on the internet that you shouldn't be purchasing, they told us that Bitcoin was the means by which that was happening. The whole time, just to get normal people to not want to be in the market. But then they'll come around and they'll say it's okay, and then JT is going to get it into your portfolio. And I do respect him for the 3 to 5% statement that he made, because that's much better than what most people tell you. But if it's an asset that's been around for a decade, countries are buying it, governments are buying it. The United States is the largest holder of Bitcoin that they've confiscated, but they stopped selling it. So the US is holding. They were at a point in time, they were selling off 10,000 Bitcoin a month to pay bills. They've been holding their Bitcoin. I'm willing to bet you they start selling into the market this bull cycle because they know to pay off some of this debt, because now they've had to raise the debt ceiling. Countries are making it legal tender. Russia's using it. Iran's using it. United Arab Emirates are using it. They've recently just issued a statement in the Middle Eastern community that Bitcoin's halal. It's not going away. It's past the Lindy test. Governments, countries, businesses, MicroStrategy, publicly traded company, actively buying Bitcoin. Tesla, holding Bitcoin, actively bought Bitcoin. I could go on. But what I'm saying is, in the face of math, and personal finance is a math-driven thing. And I understand that it's because everybody's getting replaced. I mean, technically speaking, now that we've got AI, why? Why is that job necessary? Why do you need a wealth manager with emotional opinions that needs your money? Why do they need it? Because I can tell you right now, for what I do, some of the activities that I take place in the cryptocurrency space, they're about to weed out the active part of what I do with AI. They're about to make it so that you don't have to like manually going in and dealing with your liquidity pools and handling that and tweaking it. All the stuff that I find fun. There's already stuff coming into the market now that's like, yeah, I can do your job better than you. And I'm just doing it for myself. It's like, hey, we can make this more efficient. So I'm like, and there's literally AI portfolio managers already. And if all the information is on the internet, then how long do we need that industry? Because they're not, and I'll tell you, me not being as smart as you, JT, I work in home automation, which is a skill trade. And I'll tell you this, they're nowhere near replacing me at all. And I'm just like, I look at the AI stuff that we have in crypto and I'm like, do I need a middleman? Or do I want a middle computer that's going to make sure that I'm getting the most gains possible, that's going to look at the market and be like, cool, your money should be here, here, and here. Give me the pool of money. I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time, and it was one of the things that I've said since 2013. Future's coming, like it or not. You're going to evolve or die. But it's interesting because I was always told as the dumb kid, it's the poor guy. It was like, you know, we had enough money to go on vacation, but like I had East Bays, okay? Like I was in Payless shoes. I was getting clowned, you know? I didn't get everything I wanted for Christmas. Now I did get a lot of stuff that I wanted. My grandma took care of me. She hooked it up. You know, she worked real hard, hooked it up. I get it. I wasn't one of those kids that got everything that they wanted. Like it wasn't like I could just think up stuff. Like I knew that there were limitations on what I could have. I never forgot it. And now when I got into crypto, there was a bunch of people, and it was great because like some of my clients, like I said, like I have access to actual millionaires that like built businesses also. Cause like JT owns a business, which I respect a lot. He has his office, he has his practice. Not enough of us own stuff, which is part of the reason that we have the issues that we have societally. And, you know, Wall Street Trapper was talking about that tonight on his show. And, I think he definitely falls a lot a bit more into the victim Olympics than I do, but I understand his fan base. And honestly, I think it's just business. That's what I think. It's a thought and an opinion. They're like assholes. We all got them. But one of the things that we do when we compare to other people and they talk about other people are getting ahead of us, and I was like, well, this system isn't set up for any people at this point, because my business, where our office is, we're in one of the wealthiest zip codes in the United States, but where we are is out by the rural area, and they got kids that don't have coats at the elementary school out there. They got to go to school with the other little white kids that have everything. And there's kids that literally have nothing. System's not working for them. Like they have to like rally the troops to get those rich white people to help the poor white people. So the piece of this context that's not being told, again, half truths. Fuck, I should do this as a live show and call it Half Truth Tuesday, where I just bust people out for telling half the truth, because the half the truth gets y'all messed up. You think this is some sort of everyone's moving lockstep? They're not. They're not, Trapper. They're not. They are not. Families are moving lockstep. Like you can see that. There's collective friend groups that are moving lockstep. And like Trapper, I mean, I know you already know this because you got money. And again, half truth, because you got to make your money. they ain't all always white. They got other people in the mix. So I can tell you right now that out of all my mentors, I got one that looks like us. One. And all the rest of them look exactly like the people that you say don't want us to win. So that's an inaccurate statement. It's not the reality of what's going on, but you have money, you know that. And I think it's disingenuous. I know it's good for views. I know everybody's got platforms, whatever. I don't, so I'm gonna tell the truth because I don't care because I don't have to live here. Like it's wonderful thing when you actually don't live in this space. I don't need a successful YouTube channel. I get to talk to the 10 people that I want to talk to every Thursday night on Guns and Butter after this show. And I really don't care if nobody else shows up. Don't care. I don't need to be a part of the YouTube Illuminati clique so that I can sit out here and try to scam people and be paying to be on people's show. Like, I ain't doing that. I don't even want to be friends with them because most of the time they're wrong too. And I have an issue with people when they're wrong. But back to what I was saying, the thing that's important is those other cultures, and where Trapper was right is they own stuff. They don't go into a job and be like, I'm not getting treated right at this job. They create jobs. The other thing that he was wrong about was he was talking about how, the dollar cycles. I was like, I grew up, huge part of the Vietnamese community, which basically y'all would count them as Asian. They didn't only buy from each other. They did a lot of business with each other. But the issue is this: if you're cycling dollars, right? Dollar bounces 28 times. So you go to work, you get your dollars. There's X amount of dollars in the community. If you just cycle the dollars within the community, there's no growth. The thing that every other culture in this country does, that since we want to have a conversation with black people, that black people don't do. We do not compete with other cultures. We constantly go and buy from other cultures, but nobody comes and buys from us for anything because we don't own anything. Because you got to own something. You got to have a resource to sell to compete with other cultures. Asian people do not just buy from Asian people. And I mean, even if they do, the main way that the Asian community keeps growing in wealth is they have Chinese restaurants. They have Vietnamese restaurants. They have these amazing restaurants, and we all go there and give them our money, and then it goes into their community for them to cycle 28 times. That's how growth happens. These restaurants aren't functioning just because their people go there. They're there to take resources from other people. At least where I live, when I go stop into my favorite Vietnamese places, there's all kinds of other people there grubbing. They're taking money from another community and putting it into their own. If everyone in the black community was the best investor on the world, we would still only have so much money because we still don't own any infrastructure. Like even from we're not building anything. Like JT has built something. He employs people. Wall Street Trapper has built something. He employs people. But like, we all can't be YouTubers either, because like that's also not necessarily a commodity. Like, it's not a thing that it's just like, oh yeah, we can all just be the YouTube people. We don't own YouTube. They could just kick us off of it. So like, even in that sense, infrastructurally, we don't own shit. So I've been rambling. This was a long ramble, but let's get into the meat of this. Like, I'm sorry. I had to get it off my chest. Like, I spent the day, like, it's Tuesday. I knew I was going to get to see Trap. I wasn't on a panel, so I got to listen to Trap for a little while. I saw the Bernard Rowley video with Pocket Watching with JT. I want to tap in and see what he had to say on that. And, like, every time I listen to people, especially when it's financial people and they're black and they're in the YouTube space, they always got something terrible to say about Bitcoin. And it just grinds my gears because they're just wrong based on math. And I'm like, if we're talking finance, we just need to talk about the math. So let's get to the math. We ran our net worth calculation from the monthly financial spreadsheet where we tally up everything. We get all the liquidity pools, the everything. We all of the assets, we do all the debits to the credits, and it's great. And so what we're tracking on the show is the growth and or lack thereof. So like if we got a dud month, we got a dud year, is going to get tracked here because we're going to have some negatives. All positives. We greened up right now though because crypto's booming. Obviously, I'm over, and I've admittedly said this because that is my lane. I am overextended into the crypto space. We have actively started hedging out by getting paper assets. We also hedge out with property during the bull run. We add a property. That's the goal. So that's the road that we're on, the trajectory that we're riding now. But the net worth, and we're going to do a different kind of breakdown because it's the end of the year and the end of the month. So we got a couple of different breakdowns on the net worth, but the basic net worth growth, we are increased the net worth $16,080. Now, including my house, which has a good chunk of equity in it, I am still 80% in crypto. Like I said, we're not factoring in the house. Like it's only counted in there because the house is in real estate, and the way that I utilize things, when I get the next property, we're not selling this one, but we might tap into that equity to boost the down payment for the next property, depending on what the market's doing. I'm trying to save up everything in cash, which is why we're actively doing the Bitcoin savings pool, which as long as we're over 45, we will not be going back into that pool. It'll be going back into our market position of QQQ because we save aggressively over here. Now, that's the wrong one. Hold on, home savings. Because this one, since we're going to be taking the tax hit on it anyway, we show the numbers. So boom, as you can see, make me little. We are up 15.7% since we started the savings. I was really hoping we were going to hit a round number and get 4,000 in there, but 36 ain't bad. And we've added almost 500 to it just by having it sit in Bitcoin. This will get better as the year goes. And we'll start dollar cost averaging out once we hit the previous all-time high. Yeah, that's what we're doing with that. So we got a good amount in there. We hit some savings metrics this year. Obviously, this month the savings was definitely on point because we took that leverage loan, the 0% with the 4% kicker up front from the Discover card for $3,500. We got that disseminated into the market. We got ourselves 3 months out on the mortgage for the cushion. We got 1 more month of mortgage cushion to get out there. And then we will be doing the remaining 8 months in a position within our hybrid portfolio that will be producing some passive income as well to add to the dividend pool. And God forbid, we're backstopped on this property for a year. When we go to buy the next property, we will rinse and repeat that strategy. I, for one, am super excited about it. Now, the network, obviously, we increased over the month. So that's from the beginning of this, from the end of last month when we did the calculation. So from November to December, we increased the net worth $16,080. That's a win. For the year, which is January's numbers, so the first month of the year to December 2023, over the course of 2023, the net worth has increased $65,000, $65,426. Obviously, crypto market. We was building over the year, and it boosted. Now, here's an interesting one. So, for those of you who weren't around last year, we took a major hit last year. We had a loss. It was my second big loss, and it was bigger than the first loss. It actually, we had like one major F up a year in regards to money in the cryptocurrency space. But from last year, December metrics to this year, December, end of month, 2022, December to 2022, December this year, the net worth has increased $80,528.50. With the ending credit score of 816. Obviously, we're utilizing the credit. We took out the loan. We hit. I actually realized that I'm gonna have to start pulling because, like, I get really zeroed in on my financial goals, and so over the bull run, I'll run up debt. I have a float that I'll do, and so this year we were saying we're gonna have it about 5,000. I pulled it back in. We had it kick back out. Well, So I've been working a bunch of extra hours, and I haven't been accounting for the additional fuel, the additional food, and the need for me to go be social. Because, like, if I'm working 20 extra hours and I'm doing 20 extra hours here, just working the YouTube channel, recording videos, doing panels, doing my YouTube stuff, just kind of building this out. It takes time. If I'm doing that, I got to go out. I got to have my social time. So obviously with like that, bills, utilities, all that stuff, we've hit the float. So like now we're going to have to turtle back up, pay it down, because I like to pay that down with fiat currency. I don't like cash out my crypto for anything with the exception of the house savings pool that we're going to be utilizing to get the down payment on the next property. But with that said, even taking that loan out and the increased debt load there on the credit card, it only dropped down to 816. Now, when you're actually utilizing your credit, it swings. So like when you're utilizing your credit, it moves, like the number changes. So that's good. I thought it was going to go lower than that. I thought we were going to be sub 800 again, and we're not. So that's good. Housing savings. How much did we save? So for housing savings, because we didn't just throw all the money into the market, we dollar cost averaged in for all of the funds that we pulled. Now this is including the 3,500, the half of that we had go to savings for the next property. We dollar cost averaged that in out of a pool of money. We also had the overtime money. I'm not just throwing all of it in. We're doing it in chunks, so that way we're not rushing. We're making sure we're getting the dips. We're pre-halving. I'm not worried about anything pre-halving. Like, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So with that said, throughout the course of the month, we had $1,750 go specifically to the house savings pool, which is all in Bitcoin currently. Awesome. And then with crypto, we had $1,710 go into the crypto space. I feeling really good about that also. Now, the income for the month, which is outside of my paycheck, basically. So this is any side hustle income or cryptocurrency income within the DeFi space. My in-home banking, which is the loan that I take out of my cash pool. I have like a in-home banking system that I've set up for my cash savings pool, which I keep quick access to. It's the emergency fund, but I don't normally have emergencies, so we're building it up because if I did have an emergency, I also have my brokerage account, and I'm 48 hours away from paying back whatever I pull. So we had a total of $338.69. The important part of that, which obviously doesn't sound like much, obviously the savings probably doesn't sound like much to somebody like Pocket Watching with JT, like somebody who lives in the YouTube space. They're like, that's nothing. I'm like, you're right. Fine about it. But the issue is the exponential upside of crypto, especially within the next 16 to 24 months. It's going to be something. So I don't really gauge myself based on what other people's metrics are, because we're getting it actively out of the mud. We're documenting the active crawl out of the mud. So yeah, like there's plenty of people who invest way more than me on a regular basis, but I'm seeing these numbers grow. I'm seeing the net worth grow. I find that entertaining. Makes me feel good. Most people are running around worth negative money, especially if you got student loans. So, like, I mean, that's cool. Enjoy your Gucci belt, I guess. I don't know what to say. Like, we like playing the actual game over here, not the peasant game that they told you that you're supposed to be playing. One of the things that was important for me to note on here, though, is we blew the stretch goal out of the water for the DeFi space, because $273.45 of that came specifically from the DeFi space, and the bulk of it, over half of that, came from the last week's reallocation. So we're expecting this to grow. I think I'm gonna try and push myself. We might have to do some reallocating, but I kind of want to see if we can, because like I don't think we're gonna get to the days of old, but I do think that we could get to the point of maybe between 500 and 1,000 a month. I think that would be great, reinvested into the space. If we can get to those numbers, then I don't have to focus on putting my money in any longer. But until then, I think we're just going to keep building and keep researching and trying to find more opportunities, because it's you got to get a big bag of money working. And next month, or actually not next month, this month, we'll get to see what those actual numbers look like, because I think it could get kind of ridiculous. We'll see though. So those are the numbers. Definitely tap in with Bernard Riley. He's doing some cool stuff on his channel. I normally used to catch him throughout the workday. I'm gonna have to go see if they unsubscribe me or something. But good channel. Also check out Pocket Watching with JT. He's really good at identifying scammers and breaking that down. Definitely gives some insight, because like when I do tap into his content, it helps me look at the crypto space, and I'm like, oh, okay, like now I understand why these people are doing what they're doing. Like when he did the breakdown on the YouTube, I call it the YouTube Illuminati, but like how all the influencers within the black space are all interconnected and intertwined, and it's like a big ball of like, you got to get in the club. I don't like clubs. I don't like middlemen, and nothing against Pocket Watching. I just don't like middlemen. Like I literally have developed such a high level of oppositional defiance that I don't like. I'm like, oh, there's a club. I don't want to be in it. Like, I don't like those guys. Matter of fact, like I'm just like, it's frustrating for me. I don't like it in finance. I don't like it in anything. I really don't. And so like when he did those breakdowns, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I don't need to try to be cool with these people. Like if people don't like my stuff, then you cannot like my stuff. It doesn't matter, because in the crypto space, we got a saying, and it's good. You're going to see it. You'll start seeing it on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. You start seeing it on Facebook. You're going to see me say it. You're going to see me post it all the time. And it's have fun being poor. Like, because we don't care. Like, we don't need y'all in the space. You're just coming. It's just what it is. Like, we're already where the ball is, which historically Black people just are never there. You're never where the ball are. We're never where the ball is. We like wait until everyone else gets there, then we'll come in late and complain about it. And the same thing's going to happen with crypto. So, but it's not just us, it's literally everybody. And it's a crypto space thing. That's what we always say to the people who have historically talked trash about us. We're like, have fun being poor, because at a certain point, do you have Bitcoin? Do you have a whole Bitcoin? Is going to be a wealth metric. It's going to be the future's Gucci belt. Period. Because it's going to be impossible for most of you to get one. Period. Because there's only so much. And yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely make sure to tap in with us this evening. We're going to be doing a live show where we're going to be talking about masculinity. That's good. We're going to start the year off proper. We're going to talk about masculinity, all of its forms and fashions. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe. For those of you who are looking to make contact, obviously on the page, I've got the email. You shoot me a message. You hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you find at Reckless Ray Dinero. I'm out here doing stuff. We're going to have some more interesting stuff as we add some more stuff to vlog with to the collection of things, because I'm about to start vlogging some of these construction jobs where you guys get to see me do some blue collar work, because unlike most of the places, people in these spaces, I actually have an actual skill that's useful. That's not going to get replaced by a computer anytime soon, because apparently the robots at the Tesla factory are attacking people. More job security for me. And I work with all the rich people, so like they're not going to not build houses. So we're gonna start getting some more stuff, get some dance and stuff too, because I'm also really good at that. Multi-talented. I'm really good at a lot of stuff. Apparently not sitting in a seat in a class. Not good at that. So I can get those special pieces of paper, but it's all right. Hey, it didn't stop Trump. Ain't gonna stop me, bro. Anyways, this is your boy Reckless Ray Dinero. Until next week, I'm out. Peace.